Hey, so it is Wednesday, which means it is time for my golden nugget of the week, and it is a big one. So I have been seeing recently a lot of chatter about how business owners and CEOs want to be better at hiring and growing their team, and they feel like they suck at it, or they're stuck in this constant employee turnover, or they just are not sure how to find the right people or the best people for their team. So I wanted to hop on here. And of course, you guys know that my philosophy is make things simple so you can grow. So I broke it down into 5 C's that are really easy to remember that will help you bust through this bottleneck of hire fire cycle. So the first one is clarity. This is actually the one that I see tripping up most business owners and most CEOs. And one of the things we tackle first when I come in for private consulting in my role of interim COO and team um, team builder. I mean, that's one of my superpowers is building the right team around the entrepreneur. So the first one is clarity. Clarity is specifically around the role and what success for that role is. And this is key. A lot of times I see people hire for titles, like they want an administrative assistant or a chief of staff or a salesperson or a marketing person, which is fine if you actually know what you need in that role. Like, what skills do they have to be an expert in to really excel? What things can you teach them versus things that they innately need to have? And then, most importantly, what is the number one thing that they have to do that if they do this one thing, only this one thing, it will be a success for that role? And I know I'm sure you're thinking, well, I don't want them just to do one thing. I know, but this is another C, but you have to have that one thing that you can measure progress on, that you can look at their performance. You can, say, they crushed it. Make it simple, guys. Don't overcomplicate it. Um, that leads me into number 2, which is communication. A lot can go really well or really terribly with communication. So, one of the things that I work on with my clients and with my own team is being clear on expectations, getting clear on what the definition of done is. Thanks, Tim Francis, for that. And then the third thing is really how they view the world. So, a lot of times what I see is mismatched expectations or mismatched models of the world. So, what that means is if you have somebody who's big picture and you're trying to get into the details and the nitty gritty first before showing them the big picture, there's going to be a disconnect, and vice versa. So, you have to understand how your team views the world so that you can support them and communicate with them the best way, because otherwise you're just going to be butting heads and being frustrated. And then, of course, I always say unshared expectations are nothing more than predetermined resentments. And the reason why this is really important, guys, is because if you and your employee and your team don't have the same expectations, there's no chance that you guys are going to be going in the same direction. So you want to be really, really clear. That goes back to clarity, and you want to communicate to make sure everybody's on the same page. Third, culture. So this is a big one, especially when your company is growing. So when your company is growing, your culture becomes even more important, because a bad piece of fruit, a bad apple, or a good piece of fruit and a good apple, they all have really big ripple effects, especially when you're in that scaling time period in the beginning. And then you want to make sure that your culture matches your long-term vision, and you want to make sure that you're selecting people that match your culture. And I know culture is a big buzzword that's kind of up in the clouds, but essentially culture is, another word for culture is values. And there's certain values in every company that if you don't fit them, you shouldn't be working there. And so that's another one that will help you more succinctly fire, develop your team, because you're evaluating them on very clear cut culture and value standpoints. The fourth one is capacity. I see this one kill more employee-employer relationships than anything else, and that is simply putting too much on your employee. And yes, we are the yes generation. I mean, we are Americans. If you are watching, because I do have a global business, be glad that you you guys are taking summer breaks right now. At least my clients in Italy are. But if you have a great employee that you have put too much on their plate, you'll burn them out. And burnout almost always results in resentment, which then breeds toxicity, which then breeds bad performance. And it's a cycle that, unfortunately, when that happens, also creates a cancerous sort of culture of negativity and resentment. So you want to make sure, again, back to clarity. That's why I put clarity is the first one. You want to make sure you're really, really clear about what this role does, what someone needs to be successful in it. And if you are have open communication, hopefully your employee will tell you if they're feeling overwhelmed, but a lot of them won't. So it's your job as a leader to make sure that you know who's doing really good, who might be slowing behind, and really check in and get feedback both ways. And then the fifth one is capability. And I'm going to leave an open loop because I'm not going to talk about it. And the reason I'm not going to talk about it is because it is a whole huge subject that actually I am teaching a workshop on. So if you want to know more about this, how to get off this hire fire cycle, how to build a scalable team, how to build a full potential team, a high performing team without all the headaches and frustration, and most importantly, a team that is happy, productive, and is actually a revenue generator for you rather than a revenue black hole, I invite you to come to my workshop next Friday, the 28th of August. It's going to be super fun, a few hours, and we're going to talk about all of those things in addition to your role and how to really truly get you out of chief everything officer and business operator into business owner and CEO, help you figure out what the team is that you actually need to get to the next level and stay at the next level, and also how to identify any gaps in your team. And last but not least, a really simple system that's going to help you have a repeatable, easy, simple, and fun way to hire, get feedback, develop your team, and really just build a full potential team. So I'd love to have you join, and I hope this was helpful. It's a little taster, but those 5 are really key when you want to get off the hire fire cycle of frustration. So anyway, I hope you have a great day, and hopefully I will see you at our workshop, not this Friday, but next Friday, the 28th of August. Talk soon.